Okay, so I'd like to go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody at this time. And Dixie, if you could go ahead and unmute David for me at this time, please. Only, you can unmute David.
Mary.
Join the meeting.
Zoom meeting. Button menu. Audio now muted.
David, are you unmuted?
I believe so. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, hang on for 1 second. I'm just going to go ahead. We have some people joined, and I'm going to go ahead and mute them.
Closed. Open video settings. Stop my video. Alt plus V button. Audio settings button menu. Stop my audio mute. Currently unmuted. Alt.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Join the meeting.
Good.
Okay.
1941447
Okay.
34 has joined the meeting.
All right. We'll go ahead and get started. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to our July workshop here at the Florida Outreach Center for the Blind. My name is Jason Goldfield, for those who do not know me. I am the assistive technology instructor here at Florida Outreach Center, and we are having our workshop today on smart home technology. We'll be covering various different components of smart home technology, exactly what it is, how it works, and how you can enable such devices in your home. We're proud to
Join the meeting.
We're proud to have us with us today a guest speaker. His name is David Goldfield. If you hint the last name, it's my brother. He is a project manager with the accessibility team of Comcast Corporation in Philadelphia. And he has come on the line today to speak to us how you can use Comcast products and services to control various smart home devices in your very own house. So David, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Jason. Is my audio all right at the moment?
Yeah, it's fine.
Excellent. So, hey, I just want to first say hi to everybody. I'm so thrilled that we have such a good turnout for this, and I hope that it'll be worth your while. I'd like to thank Carolyn and also Jason, who is my brother, for giving me an invitation to talk with you today. And I'm going to do more than talk to you. I'm going to do some demos, let you hear how some of this stuff works, and then answer your questions if you have any. So I really would like this to be a dialogue and not just me kind of sitting here and talking. I'll give you a brief introduction to who I am and to the company that I work for. So as Jason said, I am Jason's brother, David Goldfield. I am visually impaired, almost totally blind myself, and I have been working in the assistive technology field for almost 30 years, and I've probably been playing with it even longer. I started out doing product support, helping people by phone, as well as email and some other trainings to use some assistive technology for about 17 years. I then did training with both kids and adults, teaching them how to use things like screen readers, JAWS, and Window Eyes when that was a thing, and how to use Microsoft Word and just use computers and note takers. But for the past almost 4.5 years, I've been working for Comcast as a product manager for their accessibility team. So I'll just give you a little bit of an intro to Comcast. A lot of you probably know about Comcast. You're probably subscribers to Comcast. Some of you might not be, but you've very likely heard of us. A lot of people still think of Comcast as a cable TV company. If you ask some people, that's what they'll say. Oh, they're a cable company. And we were at one point just a cable TV company. We started in 1963, believe it or not. That's how long Comcast has been around. And for a number of decades, cable TV was pretty much all we did. But then we started expanding. So we still offer cable TV right now in the form of X1, which is an operating system for your TV that lets you do things like see what kind of shows are coming up and access on demand and record your favorite shows and play back those recordings. It's a full operating system that we developed, and that's still being offered, still available. But we also have internet access. We have landline, as some people call it, or home phone service. We have cellular phone service and home security, so that you can have things like alarms, sensors on your windows, motion detectors, so that it'll let you know if there's movement in a certain room in your house, or if a window is opened, or if someone opens or closes a door. Heaven forbid, if somebody comes in who shouldn't be, you will know it, as well as things like cameras for taking pictures of these things. So what I do is I work on the accessibility team. So what does that mean? Essentially, what we do, the accessibility team, is we make sure as best as we can that all of these products and services are accessible to customers who have disabilities, right? So if you are totally blind, you need to make sure that your screen reader can work with all of these things. Otherwise, what good is it? What good is having all these cool features on your TV if you can't actually access them yourself? What good is being able to know when someone has opened or closed a window if you can't access it? So we try to make sure that all of these services and apps are accessible both to mobile as well as web screen readers. So in plain English, that means that if you use JAWS or NVDA in Windows, or if you use VoiceOver on the iPhone, if you use TalkBack on Android, we want to make sure that all of these apps actually talk the way that they're supposed to, so that you don't have to struggle with them. And this is not only for people with no vision, it's for people with low vision. So we want to make sure that the color contrast is good so that you can comfortably see everything without having to struggle. Because if you can sort of see that there are things there, but you're struggling to find it, that's not really good. So we try to fix those things, and not only that, but to prevent them from even happening before they even get to customers. So I work with not all of the products, but a lot of them to make sure that they're accessible, particularly with screen readers, because I'm a screen reader user. I don't just work for Comcast. I mean, I do, but I also use this stuff. So frankly, I need to make sure that I can use it, right? So, there's a bit of that in there as well. But because I am pretty comfortable using all different types of screen readers, we go through these products and make sure that they all talk. So what I'm going to lead into now is what does all this have to do with smart homes? And I think before I answer that, I should really talk about what is a smart home. Some of you might be thinking, well, this is all well and good, but what is a smart home anyway? What makes a home smart? How do I know what a smart home is and how to make my home into a smart home? Believe it or not, that is a harder question to answer than you might think, because there isn't one specific definition that says this is what makes a smart home. If you want a smart home, do this, and you have a smart home. It's not really that easy to define. In fact, if you go on the web and look up what is a smart home, you're going to get different definitions. So I'll try to break it down in what I hope are simple terms that are absolutely correct. Basically, you know that every home, whether it's a house or whether it's an apartment, has different devices and appliances. This was true before computers, right? You had your thermostat or your heater. You have a refrigerator. Some of you may have a dishwasher, a washer and dryer, a toaster, an oven, a TV. These are things that all homes have had for many, many years. A smart home basically can take many of these appliances, and if they're connected to the internet, you can make them even easier to use by making tasks even simpler. Because instead of going up to your TV to change a channel, or even picking up your remote to change a channel, which in and of itself is pretty cool, or instead of going up to your thermostat or up to your fridge to check on things, you can do these with remote apps or separate programs that you can actually access from a computer. What it means, though, is that for most of these things to really work and do the magic that they do, you really do need an internet connection in order for this to actually work. Most of you probably have one. Some of you might not. Some of you might be calling in using a regular landline, and you might not yet have an internet connection. But for those of you who are calling in using your computer or using your phone, well, you do have an internet connection because that's how you're connecting to us. So you already have the first thing to make a smart home smart. So what kind of devices can you get, first of all, to turn your home into a smart home? As I say, there isn't just one way to do it, but probably the simplest way is to use what's called a smart speaker. Now, this in and of itself doesn't have anything to do with Comcast yet, but I'm going to get to that. But I just want to bring that up as an example. Everybody knows what a speaker is for. It's to connect to a radio or stereo or maybe your phone. You can listen to audio of different types like music or audio drama or radio stations. A smart speaker can do all of that, but number one, it gets all of that from the internet and not just from over-the-air radio stations, but it also allows you to talk to them. So if you have Alexa, I'm not going to say the word, at least I'll try not to, because I don't want to make everybody's Amazon Echo go off. But if you have an Amazon Echo or a Google Home, you can say, the wake word, which is Alexa. Some people call it Lady A, or, okay, Google. What time is it? What's the weather? Set an alarm for 6 a.m. tomorrow. I do that all the time, except fortunately I don't have to get up at 6 a.m. anymore since I'm working from home, which is nice, but I can say set an alarm for 8 a.m. tomorrow. I can say set an alarm for 8 a.m. Monday through Friday even. And sometimes she will even ask you, would you like to set this on a Monday through Friday basis? That's what makes a speaker into a smart speaker. Believe it or not, if that's all you have, you actually have the beginnings of a smart home. Because that is part of what makes a smart home smart, is being able to have this really cool speaker connected up to the internet, and you can give it voice commands to play stations. You can play music of different types. It really is almost magical. My brother and I sometimes talk about what we would have thought of in the 1980s if we knew about this technology. And I think a lot of us just didn't see it coming. It really is something right out of science fiction, right? So you can have a smart speaker to start making your home into a smart home. I'm going to talk about a few other devices that you can get to make your home into a smart home and why you would want them as a blind person and how you can control them in a very accessible way with not just with Comcast, but with Comcast apps and services. So one of the things is thermostats, right? Computers are great for blind people because they can all talk. Your Windows computer can talk. Your Mac has a built-in screen reader. For Windows, you can install several different screen readers, right? Your iPhone, your Android device, all of those are pretty accessible. Accessibility isn't perfect, but they're pretty good overall, right? There's always room for improvement, but the point is those devices are not necessarily the biggest challenge. One of the challenges that we do still have as blind people are appliances that are not computers and not cell phones. Now, I realize for some of you, computers and cell phones still might be a challenge, and that's, you know, a separate topic for another workshop because everybody does have some challenges sometimes with some of these devices, and that's fine. But appliances are definitely kind of an uncharted frontier where there's still very little accessibility. There's some, but not very much. Thermostats, definitely one of them. Occasionally, you might be able to find a thermostat with Braille on it. Okay, I've heard of those things. There was at one point a talking thermostat. It was not a smart thermostat. It was a regular old thermostat that talked. Unfortunately, they are either not being made anymore or they're very difficult to get. So my wife and I, a few years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, we had to get our thermostat replaced. And we have a thermostat from Ecobee, which is one of the companies that makes modern thermostats. That's ECOBEE. You could think of the word economy with ECO and then BEE. It's a pretty cool thermostat. You can, if you look at it, it'll tell me the time and the temperature in the house, and I think the temperature outside. And then if you go up to it, it actually has a motion sensor that gives me some additional choices, including setting it up, and I can control the temperature. One problem with it, it's a touch screen and it doesn't talk. So it's completely inaccessible to me as a blind person. My wife, who is sighted, has no trouble at all with this thermostat, right? She can go up to it, do whatever she wants. But there's not even a knob on it. There's not even like a button where I could say, well, if I press this button, that's temperature up and that button is temperature down. It's a flat touch screen, no speech, no Braille, totally inaccessible to me. So, but the good news is it's a smart thermostat. So it's not just connected to the HVAC, the heating and ventilation and air conditioning system. It's also connected to my internet connection. And where that comes in handy is that it has an app that will let me control it. But the problem with the Ecobee app is it's not 100% accessible. It's kind of sort of accessible, but it's not great. But with the Comcast apps, they can connect up to my thermostat because it's a smart thermostat, and I have full control over this thermostat through either my Windows computer with JAWS or whatever screen reader you want to use, or on my iPhone or on an Android device. This is done through an app that we have for our internet customers called XFi, XFI. So you've heard of the term Wi-Fi for wireless internet. This is kind of a play on words with XFi because the home products for Comcast are called Xfinity. So the XFi app came out about 3 years ago, and its original purpose, and it still does this really well, is it lets me see what devices are on my internet network, on my connection. So why is that important? Well, it can, first of all, it will let me see exactly what is connected so that I can make sure that they're all devices that I approve. So my wife also has an Android phone. I have an iPhone. I have a laptop for work. We have some Amazon Echo speakers. They're all connected to the internet. If I had kids, I don't, but if I did, one of the things I could do is if my child had a laptop or a cell phone, I could assign those to what's called a profile. So let's say that I have a child, his name is John. So I could set it up so that John's laptop and John's iPhone are set up under the John profile. I can do several things with that. First of all, if his bedtime is at 10:30, I can set what's called a downtime schedule with XFi. So I can say after 10:30, pause John's laptop and his iPhone until 6:30 the next morning so that he can't go on my network at all hours of the night. I can pause it for dinner. So if you have a bunch of people at dinner and you say, hey, I want everybody to come to the table and have dinner at the same time. Yeah, I know, who does that? But, you come to the table and don't bring your iPhones or your tablets. This is just for family time. You can pause those devices with XFi, right? So, and that's pretty cool. You can pause them during dinner and then unpause them after dinner. So that's pretty cool. That's what XFi originally was set up to do, and it still does all of that. None of that functionality has changed. But what's different is that now we can let you access these smart home devices through XFi. So I'm going to give you a few demonstrations of how I do that. I have a couple of iPhones next to me. You might be wondering, why do you need two iPhones? Because I have a thermostat and some cameras on my personal account in my house, but I have another test account with some other smart devices that I want to show you that's really cool. So I'm going to unlock this iPhone and go into the XFi app, and I'm going to show you and let you hear as well as see how I can control my thermostat. Okay. I do have my video on for those of you who can see, but for those of you who can't, I just have a regular iPhone in my hand, and I'm going to unlock it, and you should hear voiceover. There we go. Let's unlock. No.
Current home content.
There we go.
Front door camera.
Okay.
Add a device button.
So I'm in the XFi app. VoiceOver is on. I'm using the Alex voice, and this is showing me what devices are part of my smart home. It's not showing all the devices on this particular screen, like my phones and computer and everything like that, but it is showing my smart home devices. So I'll go through those.
Front door camera, 1:30, 11 p.m.
Okay, it said front door camera. So I have a camera outside of my house by the front door. It read the time 1:30 because that's when it last took a picture. I'll talk about cameras in a minute.
Hallway camera, 1:30, 10 p.m.
I have a hallway camera. So I have an outside camera to monitor activity as well as an indoor camera. And again, I'll talk about those in a minute. What I'm really looking for is the thermostat.
Currently 75 degrees F thermostat, cool set to 73 degrees.
Okay. So there's my thermostat, and it gave me some information. It said it was on cool, which means the AC is on, which is what I would hope for. And it's set for 73 degrees. So that's just some information about my thermostat, but I can do a lot more than just check the temperature here.
Thermostat device settings button.
There's some settings.
Decrease set temperature by 1 degree. Dimmed button. Increase set temperature by 1 degree button.
So there's a button that says increase the set temperature by 1 degree. Now, again, I'm not even near the thermostat. The thermostat is down the hall. I'm sitting in my home, my den, my home office, but I don't have to be near it as long as the app is connected via the internet to my thermostat. So I'm going to double tap this button to increase the temperature, which is currently set at 73 degrees.
Increase set temperature by 1 degree. Setting temperature to 74 degrees.
So now it said setting temperature to 74 degrees. So it not only read the name of the button, but it also verified that the temperature is actually what I think it should be. I'll double tap again.
Increase set temperature by 1 degree. Setting temperature to 75 degrees.
Now it says setting temperature to 75 degrees. Well, I want to move, that's probably okay, but let's say I wanted to move it back to 74. I'll swipe to the left.
Decrease set temperature by 1 degree button.
Decrease the set temperature by 1 degree. It said button because it is a button. I'll double tap here.
Decrease set temperature by 1 degree. Setting temperature to 74 degrees.
Now the temperature is set to 74 degrees. So as you can see with this phone, not even near my thermostat, I can control it remotely and get totally, have a totally accessible experience and get great feedback. Bear in mind that I don't even need to be in the house to do this. Let's say that I am visiting, right now I'm talking to you from Maryland. Well, let's say that I'm visiting my brother in Florida. And all of a sudden I realize that the temperature isn't what I want. No problem. I can still control this thermostat remotely from Florida and control it from his house and have it set to the temperature that I want up here in case I forgot to reset it. So this is one of the benefits of having a smart thermostat as opposed to a standard, regular old thermostat. With a regular thermostat, before we had smart thermostats, you'd have to be in front of it in order to set it. And if it wasn't accessible, you were pretty much out of luck. You would have to ask someone to assist you, right? But I can do a lot more than just change the temperature.
Thermostat device settings button.
There's a button that says
Double tap to open thermostat control.
Okay, double tap to open thermostat control. So I want to see what other settings that I can control here, because I can do some more things aside from setting the temperature up and down, which is for me the most important, but it's not the only thing I can do. So I'll double tap here. Oh, that didn't work.
Cool too.
There we go.
Front home content loaded. Front door cam hallway currently 70. Thermostat device settings.
Sorry about that.
Button.
Let's try that again.
Cool too.
There we go.
Decrease set temperature by 1 degree. Button.
Now I'm in a separate screen called thermostat settings, and I do still have a decrease temperature.
74
It's telling me that it's 74 degrees.
Increase set temperature by 1 degree. Button.
I can still increase the set temperature in this screen, but I have some more things I can do here.
F.
Okay, we should really have that on the same line. It says F, that means Fahrenheit.
Humidity 59%.
It's telling me that the humidity is 59%. Now, it does say that on the thermostat visually, but again, that doesn't really help me if I can't see it. Well, now I can see it through this app. So I'll swipe again.
Currently 75 degrees. Controls. Mode, cool, button.
Now this is important. The mode is set for cool, which means the AC is on. Well, that's what I want right now because it's pretty hot outside. It's in the low 90s. But what if it's wintertime? I don't want it on cool, so I can double tap this button and we can go
Mode.
Mode.
Auto button.
Now there are some modes here. There's auto,
Off button.
off,
Cool button.
cool, which is AC,
Heat button.
and heat. I'm not going to change these now, but the point is that I could do so, and this is totally accessible.
Cool off auto button. Mode.
So I'm going to get out of this screen.
Selected mode. Cool.
There we
Currently
go.
75 hallway camera 1.
Okay. So that gives you an idea of what you can do with the thermostat. Smart thermostats can also make automatic adjustments based on what the temperature is. They can make adjustments in order to cool your house just enough and save you some money on
Audio settings button.
Your electric bills. So they can do a lot of that in the background.
Camera 1.
The thermostat that I have can also have sensors. You can buy these separate sensors that can not only monitor the temperature where the thermostat is, but if you put a sensor in the living room, it'll monitor what the temperature is in the living room, and it'll cool your house based on that temperature as well. Because you've probably been through the problem. Jason, I just heard a weird noise on my machine. Is my audio still okay? Am I still online?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, good. I just heard a weird musical tone. I just want to make sure my internet didn't cut out. So you can put sensors in your house because you have a problem where your hallway might be really cool, but there might be another room in your house that's really hot. Well, these sensors can tell the thermostat what the temperature is in these other rooms and then make adjustments. They can also sense whether you're in the room or not. They have motion sensors so that if I leave this home office and go in the bedroom, the sensor will know that, oh, well, maybe he doesn't need it as cool because he's left this room and gone into the other room, so we'll adjust the temperature accordingly. Those are the types of things that make a smart thermostat smart.
Hallway camera 1.
I'll show you two more things and then we can open it up for questions. The first are cameras. Now, again, some of you may be thinking, well, if I'm blind or don't have a lot of vision, what do I care about accessing a camera? That's a good question. And what I would say is that they're helpful, first of all, because even though you may not be able to see all of the pictures that they take, if someone, let's say, is snooping around on your back porch or your front steps, and you know that there was someone there at around 12:15, you can at least go to the different pictures because it saves these pictures on the internet. You can go into the app and look for the picture that was saved at 12:15. You might not be able to see it, but you could at least show it to someone else, or you could print it, or you could save it on your phone to show to someone later just to get some confirmation. The other cool thing, though, about some cameras, and Comcast's cameras have this capability, is they have audio. So that if I hear something going on out there and I want to know what it is, I can actually listen to the audio from the camera, and the people who might be near the camera won't even know that I'm listening. So I'm going to go to my front door camera.
Front door camera 1:39:22 p.m. View.
Now, there's probably not much to hear because it is pretty quiet outside our house. There are some occasional cars, but let's say that I want to just hear what's going on outside. I'll double tap here.
Possible text. View.
Okay. That's not very exciting because there's really nothing going on out there. Just a lot of traffic. But the point is, if I heard something kind of weird going on, I could listen to it right from my phone, and the camera gives no indication at all that you're listening. Now I am hearing, oh, that's wind. I heard something that sounds like the camera was being bumped, but it's wind. But they don't know that if someone was out there, they don't know that they can't hear me. So this is one way. And as long as you're doing this within your own home, it's perfectly fine. I'm not listening in on someone else's home, just listening in on my front step. I'm going to get out of this screen.
Camera settings, front door camera, back button.
So there's the back button, so we'll get out of that.
Back.
Okay.
Home heading.
Okay. The last thing that I'll show you are lights. Now again, some of you may be saying, wait a minute, I don't have any vision, or I have very little vision. I can hardly see lights. Why do I care about this? That is a very important question. I can tell you that I have spoken with, or I've read messages from blind people, and I'm sure some of you are in this position where you're totally blind. Maybe you live alone, or maybe you live with someone else. You have a roommate or a family member, but they're constantly leaving lights on all over the place. So this is a very typical situation where you're blind, someone comes to visit, they're walking around in your house, they switch on all the lights, and then a few hours later they leave, all your lights are on, and you have no idea until someone tells you in a few days, like, hey, do you know all your lights are on in the basement? And then you get really annoyed and you go, man, they were in the basement, they forgot to turn the lights off. I've been in that situation. And every time that I've had contractors or people working in my basement, I always check things like my garage door or the lights, because I know that it's very likely, not definite, but very likely that they might leave them on, and I want to turn them off because I don't really feel like having my electric bill go up because someone didn't think to turn the lights off. It really annoys me. Well, you can get a couple of things. You can get what's called a smart plug, and you can plug pretty much anything into that plug, and then you can give it a name, and you can see whether that device is on or off through your app, like a fan or maybe a radio or something. You can also get what's called a smart switch, so that you can turn the switch off and on from your app. Or you can get smart lights. You can get smart light bulbs and put them in your house, connect them up to the app, and then the app will tell you, and you can give them unique names. So I could have a light called basement light, or garage light, or living room lamp. And I don't have to worry about whether the light's on or off. Sometimes you can't even tell if you feel the switch, because you might have one of those switches that it's just a button. You push it in once and the light's on, and you push it in again and the light's off. Well, if you have no light perception and if you don't have a light detector, that's not going to help you. You may not know whether the light is on or off. So one way you can tell is to get a smart light, and then you can give it a name, and then you can actually go through the app like XFi and immediately tell, without having to walk through your whole house, whether the light's on or off. By the way, I mentioned door locks and garage door openers. You can get smart door locks too. And this is kind of cool because you can tell right from the app whether your front door is locked or unlocked. And if it's unlocked, you can lock it. Or you could be someone who might say, you've gone to bed, you're in bed, and you're thinking, did I lock that garage door? Did I close that garage door? And maybe you did, maybe you didn't. So you'd have to get out of bed and you'd put on your slippers and you'd go downstairs and you'd check the garage and you would either say, okay, I did close it. Or you could say, oh yeah, I didn't close it, and then you close it. With an app like this, you can just go through the app and see whether the garage door is open. And if it's open and you want it closed, you just double tap on the appropriate button and the garage door closes. So now you're maybe understanding why it's very hard to define what is a smart home. It's not like you need one specific device to make your smart home into a smart home. You can have as many or as little devices as you want. And in one of the announcements that was sent out about this workshop, it even said, you know, this doesn't take a lot of money. And you might be thinking, well, how much money is this going to cost? Am I going to have to pay $3,000 for this? Not at all. I mean, you can get a smart speaker like the Amazon Echo or the Google Home for, you know, 35 to 50 bucks. Thermostats, you know, might run you, I think the one we bought was $150. Many of them are a little more expensive than that. One thermostat that I could recommend for you, we don't have this, is from Ecobee, and it's called the Ecobee 4. The advantage of that is you actually have Alexa right in the thermostat. So now that doesn't mean, you know, it'll automatically work in the app. You still have to set some of that up, but you can actually get a thermostat with Alexa. Or as I say, you could spend maybe a couple of $100 on a smart lock or a garage door opener. There are many different manufacturers who make these products, different manufacturers who make lights, such as Lutron or Philips Hue, and they, you know, range in different prices. Doesn't mean you have to buy, you know, 75 lights for every lamp in your house. You might want to start with a few of them, the ones that are the most important. The point is, it's kind of a system that you build as you need to. So I'm going to show you with another test account with XFi how I can control a light. This is not actually my lamp. This is someone else's in their home, but I do have their permission to do this. So I'm going to open up XFi on this other phone.
Battery power, not home, live home, heading.
Okay, so I'm on the XFi app and I'm in a test account, and there should be at least one light here that I can control.
Add a device button.
Now there's a button called Add a Device. We're not going to get into that, but that's if I bought a new thermostat or a new light or a new lock or, you know, whatever the product is, I could add that to this app.
Living room on 64%.
Okay, living room on. So this is a light that is named living room. You can name these anything you want. You could call it John's bedroom light. You could call it hallway light or garage door light. This one's named living room on 64%, which I think is the brightness level of the light. So this isn't just on or off. I can adjust the brightness and, believe it or not, the color.
Light device settings button.
Double
tap to launch device settings.
There's a settings button, but let's say I want to turn the living room light on,
living
off.
room on button.
I want to turn the living room light
turn on.
off. So I'm going to double tap this.
Living room off.
Now the living room light is off. I'm going to turn it back on, and we'll...
Living room on.
Now I'm going to go into settings because I want to show you.
Light device settings button.
This is the light.
Double tap to launch device settings.
I'm going to double tap to launch the device settings.
Selected colors button.
Now I can change the colors. Now again, some of you might be thinking, whoa, what's this with colors? I'm blind. I don't care about that. You might not, and I might not. But maybe your spouse or a family member or roommate might say, hey, let's have the lights a different color. You can actually adjust that if the light supports that.
Natural button.
So I can have a natural setting.
Red button.
I can have it on red,
Orange button.
orange,
Changes the color to orange.
and we even have some hint text that says changes the color to orange.
Yellow button.
I can change it to yellow,
Changes green button.
green,
Blue button.
blue,
Pink button.
pink.
Living room on 64%.
And it's once again telling me that the living room light is currently on with the brightness at 64%.
Living room on button. Living room seat control 64%. Adjustable.
This is the control
Swipe
to
up or down
adjust.
with one finger to adjust the value.
Let's adjust the brightness by swiping up and down.
74%. 84%.
84%,
94%.
94%.
100%.
Now it's all the way bright. I'm going to move it back.
60%. Overview tab.
And there we go.
One
Let me get out of
Horizon.
that.
Back button. Back. Home heading. Add a device. Living room light device set. Living room.
There we
on,
go.
64% on Sean desk offline.
Now there's another light called on Sean's desk, and it says offline, so I can't control this right now. It could be that the lamp is maybe unplugged, or for whatever reason it's not connected to the internet. So that's why I say that having an internet connection is so important for this, because that's what all of these devices connect to, and that's what the XFi app is connecting to, so that it can talk to these other devices and say, hey, living room lamp, are you on? What's your brightness set for? Oh, you're on and it's 64%. Or, hey, thermostat, what is your setting for? And the thermostat can talk back to the XFi app, and it's all done very quickly and very seamlessly without any delay. But it does this through the internet.
152p.
So though that is a sample of what you can do just with the XFi app, which is the app that you use for Comcast Internet. Our home security system also has some similar settings. So for your home security, it's not just for alarms and cameras. I can also control my thermostat, and you can set up things like lights and door locks if you have them, and things of that nature. There are many other types of smart home devices that you can get. I'll just tell you one amusing story. This is not a device that Comcast actually supports, but you can use it separately. There actually are smart refrigerators. They can do things like, detecting if you're low on a certain product, and they can order that product for you. And those devices can be accessible. I have actually seen and used a smart refrigerator. I think it might have been from Samsung, and it had TalkBack in it. It ran the Android operating system, and literally you could swipe across the refrigerator on its touchscreen and access all of its settings. So, any kind of appliance can become a smart home appliance. If you just know where to find it. You can get smart ovens. You can get smart washers and dryers. I just recently heard about a smart air conditioner. So all of these things are possible, but I wanted to show you a few devices that you can actually use with Comcast's XFi app. For thermostats, our app supports the Ecobee thermostats, which I happen to like. You can also use them with many Honeywell thermostats and thermostats from a company called Carrier. We do work with a lot of different lights, such as Lutron and Philips Hue, as well as some door locks, and for the home security anyway, you can use them with door locks and garage door openers. And with XFi, you can also use TP-Link smart plugs. So again, I could take a device that's not a smart device. I have a fan in my living room. It's not a smart device at all. It's just a regular old fan with 3 buttons, or 4 buttons: off, low, medium, and high. And there's a way to make it oscillate, turn back and forth. It doesn't connect to the internet. It's a typical fan, probably cost us $15. But I could get a smart plug from a company like TP-Link, plug that fan in the smart plug, set the smart plug up over our internet, and call it fan. So if I do that, then in theory, I should be able to go in the XFi app and adjust the fan from my smartphone or from my computer. So that is an example. I'm sure there are many that I haven't thought of, and maybe some of you will have some questions that I haven't thought of either. Jason may have some comments that I haven't thought of that he might want to add about some of his own experiences with smart home technology. So I'm kind of done this round of things as far as my talk and demo. Jason, I'll put it back to you, and feel free to, add whatever you want to add. And then when you're ready, we can open it up for questions. I'd love to answer your questions.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your presentation, David. I'm sure people found that quite informative and enjoyable, and learned a lot about Comcast services and smart home devices in general. We are going to open it up for questions in just a few minutes, and we're going to go over the instructions. So we appreciate everybody's patience. I know everybody wants to ask questions, but we're going to do these in a certain way. There are certain instructions depending on what device you're using and how you're accessing today's meeting. I wanted just to go over, just briefly, very briefly, using the Amazon Echo devices to control certain devices as well. Now, I don't want to be redundant of what David just did, and I don't have any to demonstrate here, but I certainly want to talk about a few. I attended a workshop a couple weeks ago that was put on about the same topic, and I learned a lot of valuable information, some of which I did not know. With the Amazon Echo, and this covers your Echo Dots, of course, which uses the Lady A word, which I won't say the word, the name, because we don't want them all going off. You can use those devices to do a lot of the same things that David just mentioned with the XFi system as well. And one of the devices I want to talk about is a product that Amazon actually sells. And it's an Amazon smart oven, okay? And this oven actually is several devices all in one. It's a regular oven, a regular conventional oven. It's an air fryer, and it's a warmer. So you can do air frying in it. So like I have an air fryer, but it's not a smart device. I have a microwave. Oh, and it's a microwave. I'm sorry about that. I should have mentioned that. And it's a microwave as well. So I have a regular countertop microwave, and I have a regular countertop air fryer, which I love my air fryer. But this unit is all in one. And what's nice about this unit that Amazon currently sells, and I think the normal price for it does go, I think, $249, which they have run on sale in the past, but I think it's its normal price, is that you can very easily use your Amazon device, your Echo device rather, your Lady A device, to control most, if not all, the functions on this device, on this oven. Because like most devices nowadays, unless you get very lucky and you find one that has tactile or some type of buttons, you actually run into the case of a flat screen device. And of course, there's ways around that. We could put bump dots on there. For those who read Braille, we can use Braille. But in most cases, it's just a flat device. Well, in that case, we don't, have any luck. So we have to find ways around it. But with this, we can actually use our our Amazon Echoes to control the device. Now, I want to kind of just talk about, I've heard some pros and some cons of the smart oven, and I just want to go over them really quick from what I remember from this other workshop that I attended. Yes, while it's an all-in-one, it does several functions all-in-one. The air frying only goes up to an average temperature of, I think it's 400 degrees, which for some things, when you're air frying in 400 degrees, that's okay. But for some things, you need it to go higher. Well, the actual device will not go any higher than 400 degrees. I have heard that air frying does take a while in it. So if you're trying to cook French fries, you want those nice and crispy. Usually you have to cook them at a much higher temperature than 400 degrees. It's going to take a long time, okay? Other than that, I've heard the microwave is fine. It's 1100 watt microwave, which is pretty much the average nowadays, which is really nice. And I heard the conventional oven part works just as well. I honestly forget the maximum temperature on the actual oven. But what's nice is that Amazon has classified this oven and some of the other products that they sell that work with Alexa in a certain classification of products, and they're called certified to work with Alexa. They're certified with Alexa, which means that your Echo device can control if not most of all of the functions that are covered on this device. It has been on my list a long time to get one, so maybe one of these days I'll actually get one of these devices. Amazon also classifies some of their devices as certified for humans. Now, what do we mean by certified for humans? Well, that means that it's certified that it's easy to use right out of the box with your voice. So as far as setup, usually with any type of new electronics devices, smart home appliance, we have to get someone to help us for those who cannot see. But when we purchase a device that says it's certified for humans, meaning it's very easy to set up. Just as a side note, I have heard that with the Amazon Smart Oven, you actually can order a Braille overlay as well. And I don't think there's any extra charge for that as far as I'm aware of. So that's kind of a really nice feature. So while you can still use your Amazon Echo to control this device, you can then get this Braille overlay if you're a Braille user and have that as an extra component as well. And that's a fairly new product. Amazon also came out with, a couple of years ago, they did come out with a standard microwave, and I think they're selling that for like, oh gosh, it's pretty cheap. I think it's around $49. Don't misquote me on the price on that. But I think it's around $49, so it's a really inexpensive option. Again, it's fully controlled by Amazon or by your Echo device. However, there are limitations to that. It's a very small microwave. I think it's only, I want to say a 700 cubic feet, or somewhere around there, no, 900 cubic feet. And so it's a little bit of a smaller footprint. So for some people that might be good. And the wattage is not very strong on that at all. I believe that is only around 700 watts, which will be great for heating up food, but not really cooking things in it. So if you just want to heat up some leftovers, stuff that's not frozen, things like that, some leftovers from your dinner or whatever last night, then that's an option. That's another way to go. One other thing I heard that was really exciting was that Amazon is actually selling kits, not to consumers, but to manufacturers of other appliances, like to GE, LG, and other manufacturers that makes ovens, desktop stoves, washers, dryers, things of that nature. And these are kits that manufacturers can buy from Amazon to make their devices use with your Alexa device, use with your Echo device. So that's kind of a really nice feature. So since that type of technology has really come out, you're going to start seeing more and more products come online that will be smart home ready and also Amazon Echo ready. And also, likewise, Google, I am sure, is working on a lot of the same things. So those same devices will be able to be controlled if you have a Google Home device, whether it be the big Google Home or the Google Home Mini or whichever variant of their speaker. So, and again, you can use your same device to control thermostats, like David said, probably with the same manufacturer of devices. I know here at the Florida Outreach Center, we have a Google Nest thermostat, which we have configured that to our Amazon Echo. So we're able to tell our Amazon Echo, Lady A, set temperature to 75, and it will do it. So now that also, again, is a completely touchscreen unit, the actual thermostat. It does not talk on itself, but with the configuration up to our Echo Dot, we were able to verbally control all devices of that unit. So that's really, really nice. So what I'm going to do now at this point is we're going to open it up for questions, and I'd like to go over the instructions on how we're going to ask questions. Dixie, can you unmute yourself if you're still with us? Dixie, you there? Dixie? Maybe I have to unmute her. I thought she can unmute herself.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, okay. This is Dixie Deary, everybody. She's going to be assisting me in raising of the hands. So she will be calling on you as you raise your hand. So the following instructions will be how we're going to ask questions, raising your hands on Zoom. If you're on the telephone, if you called in via the telephone, you're going to do *9. *9 will raise your hand. Okay, if you're on the computer, if you're on a Windows computer, you do Alt-Y. If you're on a Mac computer, you would do Command-Y. And if you're on a smartphone like the iPhone or iPad or other devices, you would go to the bottom right under More. There's a More option, and then there's a Raise Hand command. Now, the way this is set up is Dixie can recognize who's raising their hands, but you have to unmute yourself. So if you're on the telephone, you do *6 to unmute. David, how do you do that on the Windows, on the computer?
Sure. So on Windows, you should be able to press Alt-A. A as in alpha, which will unmute once you send the signal to their computer to unmute.
Right. And on your smartphone, you should get a message that says the host would like to unmute, and you swipe or go to the unmute button, and that will allow you to speak. So, with that being said, are there any questions for either myself or David Goldfield? Dixie, do we have anybody?
Yep, we have the 502.
Okay. They're on the telephone, so if you could do *6 to unmute yourself.
I unmuted them.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. And could you identify who you are?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. My name is Belen.
Pardon?
My question is, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
So my question, I actually have two questions. My first question is it, the app that you guys were talking about, is it, like, does it work with any smart device? Like, does it, if does it work with just specific devices, or, it's like with any smart device?
Was that
Or
question for me? I had some difficulty understanding it.
Yeah.
You wanted to know if something works with any smart device. Could you just repeat that for us?
Yeah, it's the app that you were talking about. Does it work with any smart device?
Ah, I see. Yeah, that's a good question. So the app that I was referring to was XFi, which is Comcast's app for controlling what's on your internet connection. It doesn't work with every smart device. It works with 3 different thermostats, several different manufacturers of lights, and a smart plug, and I believe some door locks at the moment. I have no doubt that we'll be adding other devices, but no, it doesn't work with every single smart device, but it does work with many of the popular brands out there.
Okay, and can you just download it from the App Store? Like, you go to the App Store and download it?
Yes, you can. You can just look for XFi, which is XFI. You can download that from the App Store, either, on iOS or the Google Play Store on Android. Now, currently, for a lot of these features to work, you are going to need Comcast's internet service. So it's really for accessing these devices on Comcast's internet service. And currently, I believe that it works if you rent one of our, what we call our gateways or routers. So, if you don't have Comcast's internet, that app isn't really going to work for you. It's really designed to make it easier to use devices on your internet if you're using internet service from Comcast.
Is that a company?
Yeah, Comcast is a company that offers, among other things, internet service. I don't know if they're available in your area, but you could call 800 Comcast and find out. It's 266-2278.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now I have Kate Lear.
Thank you. All right. If you can mute her again, Dixie, please. Thank you.
We have Katie
Hey,
Lear.
Jason, this is Mark Lear, but
Hey, Mark.
how are you, buddy?
Good.
I just got involved in all this and just started really working with it. And I've got most of my stuff is all Amazon products. So I've got the smart hub, the smart home smart hub or whatever it is. And I've got the Echo, Amazon smart speaker with Alexa. So I guess I'm kind of in the ready area to do some of this stuff. And I know I can do stuff with the light bulbs, but with all this stuff to hook it to the smart home module part of, that's where I guess I have to hook everything into the internet to make sure that it will work with smart home hub for some of the devices to set it up so they'll do like the garage door open if that's possible, to hook it to the Wi-Fi and stuff. Then I can do that. Is that the direction I got to go?
Yeah, actually with that, you have to go into the Amazon Alexa app on your smartphone or your tablet and look for the skill from that manufacturer. So if you're trying to get it to work with your, say, your garage door, you have to find out the name of the skill that works with that and what they call account linking. So you have to link the two accounts together, meaning linking your Amazon account together with the with an account. If you don't have one, you'd have to create one for that name of that particular manufacturer of that device. It just doesn't do it automatically. Now, once it's set up, once you do this account linking, which can be, for some people, that can be a little troublesome. You do have to be kind of tech savvy in order to do it. But once it's set up, then you don't have to worry about it. It's like a set it and forget it type of thing. Then you'll be able to say, Lady A, open my garage door, or whatever the command is.
Okay.
But a lot
Thanks.
of these times you do have to do a lot of account linking in order to get these accounts, in order to get these smart devices to work with your Amazon product.
Okay.
I hope
Thanks
that
a lot.
answers your question.
Yeah, it's a good start. I'll have to work at it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Anybody else, Dixie?
I don't have anybody right now.
Oh, wow. All right. Figured we'd have tons of any questions. David, is there anything else that you wanted to kind of throw in at this point until we have some more questions? I have something if you don't.
Audio not muted. Zoom meeting. Audio settings button.
Yeah, am I unmuted?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're unmuted.
Okay. No, I don't actually think so. I think I've said everything that I wanted to say, but if there are some additional questions, please
We
feel
have a-
free to ask.
We have another question
Okay.
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 from,
Who do
I
we
don't
have?
know.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. I don't have any questions. It was well covered, but I would like to say hi, David, and thank you.
Oh,
This
you're
is
very
Priscilla.
welcome, ma'am. Thank
This
you.
is Drusilla. Okay.
Hi.
Thank you, Drusilla.
Thanks for your nice comments, Drusilla. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome, David.
God bless you, dear. Thanks.
Can you mute her? Okay, she's muted. Okay. One other thing. Do we have any hands up right now?
Hold on.
Oh.
I got a Manus.
Oh, we got Manus. Okay.
I'm asking him to unmute. You have to unmute, Manus.
Yeah, you have to unmute yourself, Manus.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
All right. David, can you please, thank you so much for the presentation. We truly appreciate it for taking the time to do this for us. Can you please give us a little bit more information about the Comcast Smart Remote or Voice Remote?
David is muted.
He's muted.
I'm asking him to unmute. There he is. Okay.
There we go. Is that,
All right. Thanks.
am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Manus, thanks for your question. Yep. So I can give you some information on that. So if you have one of our video products, and there actually are two of them now, the one that I mentioned really early on in this is X1, which is our primary video product. But if you just want our internet service, we have a free video product that you can have at no extra cost called Flex. It doesn't have most of the live TV channels. So with Flex, you're not going to be able to watch, your local ABC channel or PBS or Animal Planet, but there's a lot of on-demand content, both from us and from other providers. And whether you use Flex or X1, where you can get all the live channels that you want, there is this remote that Manus was asking about. We call it our voice remote sometimes. It's basically it looks like any remote control, but it does have a button. And on the newer ones, the button is, I think, a lot easier to find. So it's a prominent round button. And so you can press it and say things like channel 12 or ABC or PBS. So you can speak the channel that you want to go to, but it goes way beyond that. So I can say things like, I can mention the name of a show. So I could say The Journey Home, or any show, you know, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. And what it'll do is it will give me an accessible list of those shows and when they're on. I can also say something like science fiction shows or documentary movies. So I can give it a subject as well as a specific name. And in some cases, you can even quote from a movie. So if I say, there's no place like home, one of the things that will come up is The Wizard of Oz. So it's really cool. I can also mention the title of a show or a movie that might be available either on demand for free or to purchase. So in the example of Wizard of Oz, I could say The Wizard of Oz into the voice remote. And The Wizard of Oz might not be on right now. In fact, it probably isn't. But we have a digital catalog of TV shows and movies that you can actually buy right from your remote and then watch it. So there'll be a little screen that pops up that says, oh yeah, The Wizard of Oz. And it might say you can rent it for this amount of money, or you could buy it for this amount of money, and I could choose that. By the way, all of the screens that I'm describing do speak, so that even if you can't see, we have something on Flex and on X1 called voice guidance. And when you turn voice guidance on, it will speak all of these prompts as they come up on the screen. And as I move through the different options, I can do that. Another thing that we're really big on is video description or audio description. Most of you probably know about that, where you can listen to a TV show or a movie, and if there's audio description, you can actually hear the what's going on when there isn't any dialogue. Most of you have probably heard examples of this. Some of you may even own TV shows or movies with audio description. So with the voice remote, I can say shows with audio description. And it will actually give me a list of all the shows with audio description that are currently on right now, or shows that might be coming on, or shows that I can actually watch on demand, in some cases for free. And if you want to turn on audio description with the voice remote, you don't even have to go into a menu. You can if you want, but all you have to do is press the microphone button and say audio description, and it's on. So that's really cool. And I can also say voice guidance. So if I turn on my TV and voice guidance, you know, maybe my wife may have accidentally turned it off or whatever, I can just say voice guidance, and the voice guidance will immediately come on. Or I could say audio description, or I could, if I want closed captions, I can say closed captions, and the closed captions will come on. If I say closed captions again, it'll come off. So you can also say education. We have an education library for kids that are, because of lockdown, are not able to go to school. So you can not only mention a channel or a network, but you can do that. I could say, you know, EWTN or CNN, because I might know that we have CNN, but I don't necessarily know what channel it's on, you know? So you can say all of those things. So that's what you can do with the voice remote. And if you have Flex or X1, you get that at no extra cost anyway. You don't even have to call a special number and request it. And if you're a Comcast customer and you have accessibility related questions about this, maybe a question will come up later after we're done with this and you might not have a chance to ask me. We have a dedicated call center for customers with disabilities, so that if you have a question about, how do I turn on audio description? How do I get my voice guidance turned on? Or how do I change the speed of the voice guidance voice? You can call our Customers with Disabilities number. That is 855-270-0379. Let me just quickly look that up because I don't want to give out the, 855-270-0379. That is a special Comcast call center specifically for customers with disabilities who have questions. It's open from 7 a.m. Until 10:30 p.m. 7 days a week. That's Eastern time. You could also go to our website at xfinity.com. I know that's kind of a long word. xfinity.com/accessibility support.
Michael Chimes.
Hi, Michael.
All right.
We have a question.
Join the meeting.
From Gloria Levin. I'm going to ask her to unmute.
All right.
And
Go
then
ahead, Gloria.
we have one from Priscilla afterwards.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. I thank you for today's presentation. Very informative. But with that said, unfortunately, Comcast is not my provider. I have no choice in the matter, as my whole community was signed up for Hotwire. I can't even get YouTube simply. Do you have any? I really would like to control my thermostat from my bedroom. And I don't know if you have any information about what I could do, because Hotwire is not as up to date as Comcast is.
Sure, I can help address that. This is David. First, I'm really sorry that your community doesn't subscribe to Comcast. That I don't think I can solve for that myself, but I can certainly try to answer your other questions. So you have some other choices here. You could get, if it's financially feasible for you to do this, I mean, you could get an Ecobee 4 thermostat, and that actually has Alexa built in. So that may give you a good level of accessibility. You can, as Jason said, connect any of these, or I shouldn't say any, but probably most of the smart thermostats to either the Alexa or Google Home, or even Siri on your iPhone. Now, doing that, as Jason very correctly said, can take a bit of doing. If you're not super tech savvy, you might want to get the help of someone who is. But that being said, once you connect it, you can use your iPhone or your tablet to give it voice commands to say increase the temperature, or turn on the heat, or turn the AC off, or things of that nature.
And what about lights, David? Will I be able to do anything in controlling the lights in my home?
Yeah, it's really the same thing. You would need to set those up. First of all, each smart device, like a light or a smart plug or a thermostat, is going to have its own app. And how accessible that app is, I can't tell you, because that's up to the manufacturer. Of course, as blind people, we can advocate for that. There are ways we can put pressure on them, and sometimes apps are not accessible, not out of malice, but just because the manufacturer doesn't know to make them accessible. And sometimes they're more than willing to work with us. Sometimes they're not. So it's anybody's guess as to what you'll find with that. But as Jason said, you can connect many of those devices, like a smart light or a smart outlet or a door lock, to Siri or to your Amazon Echo or your Google Home. through what Jason said was account linking. I've done this. I personally found it not super easy to do with Siri on the iPhone. I mean, I've read that, oh, Siri with HomeKit is great and it's so easy. I didn't find it so, but I was able to do it, and I was able to do it independently without Vision. But again, that being said, if you don't feel very comfortable kind of traversing those waters, you might want to find someone who is very comfortable doing that with technology, who might be willing to set that up for you.
Okay, all right, thank you. I certainly will try. In fact, the technician that came to my home to help me with YouTube said, put a little pressure on Hotwire. They have to know that they're behind.
Yeah, I don't understand what's up with YouTube, because that's just a typical website. You were trying to access that on your computer?
Right.
Okay, that I'm not certain of why that is.
You can access it, but for a blind person, it's almost impossible. You have to do so many manipulations that it's just too complicated. Anyway, I certainly will call Hotwire.
Yeah, that could be a firewall issue. I mean, I'm just guessing, and I know I'm kind of going beyond what I was supposed to talk about, but I do have this weakness of wanting to solve everybody's computer problems. Sometimes that's a great thing, and sometimes it can pull me into the weeds. But that, I wonder if there's like a firewall, which is basically a security program that's, preventing the websites, because YouTube itself is pretty accessible. So you may have to call Hotwire and see if there's something with the firewall on their router or gateway. I've never encountered that.
That's what I would recommend, Gloria.
Yeah.
So just call them, and since they're the provider, they should be the ones who make it work. So appreciate your question. We'll move on then. Who's next, Dixie? Do we have anybody else?
Yes, we have Priscilla again.
Oh my gosh, David, that was well spoken of about the X1 box. I am a Comcast customer, and thanks to your brother Jason, he has enlightened me on everything to do with it. And another thing about the accessibility department, the people there are very helpful. I like to where they have the shared screen. So by us being blind or visually impaired, due to calling to the accessibility department, they will open up your TV screen and walk you through everything.
Yes, that's right.
I'm grateful for that. So I had to put that in there with the X1 box that I have.
Oh, I'm so glad. Is this Drusilla?
Yes.
Yes, this is David. And thanks to your brother, Jason, this is how I found out about all of these things. So again, everything you are saying has been well spoken of. And it's true, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Drusilla.
Okay, we have another one. It's 5834. Is that the one?
Okay. If you're on the telephone, it's *6 to unmute.
The 9 button. What number do I press?
You're
unmuted. Who is this?
What number, 6?
You're
you're unmuted.
You're unmuted. We can hear you.
Oh, we can hear me. Okay. This is Rita.
Rita. Okay.
I have a question for David. If you're out somewhere and you want to record something that you forgot to set up, can you do it with this device that you're talking about?
Yes, you can actually. So this is a separate app. I haven't talked about it yet. This is an app that we've done a lot of work on to make it accessible, called Xfinity Stream, STREAM. It is separate from XFi, but it is just as accessible. And what you say is absolutely correct, right? So I could be, in Florida visiting my brother, And number one, I could go into a show that I forgot to record, and with the Stream app on my iPhone or on my Android device, or actually even on a computer, Windows or Mac, I can find that show and set it up to record. And I can, if it's a series, I could say just record this episode or record all of the episodes in the series. Or you can even, there's an option that says only record the new episodes in the series, but skip the reruns. And you can even watch most of your channels. There are some that you do need to be at home to actually watch on your network, but many of them are available outside of your home. So the majority of my channels, I can actually watch them from someone's house, even if they don't have Comcast.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rita. Anybody else, Dixie?
Hold on.
Okay. We're home.
No, I don't see anybody. Okay, I have Drusilla again.
Oh, Drusilla, okay.
Okay, here's something else I would like to share with the Xbox, which is the Infinity Box. You can also preview or look over your bills on the television. They are Amazon accessible as well through the X1 box.
Yes. Drusilla, thanks. Yeah, you're talking about the app that we call My Account. That will let you see what your bill is, and you can also pay your bill
Yes,
right from your remote. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That is true. Okay. Mute me.
All right. Thank you, Drusilla. Okay. Good questions.
Very good.
All right. Matt, anybody else?
Nope.
No? Okay. I just want to cover something that I kind of forgot to mention, and I just want to talk about it really briefly. And it's going back to what we were talking about specifically using Amazon Echo devices like your Echo Dot. I actually have a Instant Pot model. Now, Instant Pot is the name of the brand, but it's a pressure cooker, a slow cooker, a rice cooker. This model that I have does many different functions. And there are two things that I like about it. Well, first of all, the buttons on them, while they're very menu driven, they're all tactile. You can feel them, but more specifically, you can actually, once you do the account linking, as I mentioned, which can take a little time to get started, and it was a little bit of a hassle at first, but once it's set, I can now use my Amazon Echo Dot to say, Lady A, set or start Instant Pot for 10 minutes, and it will turn on the Instant Pot, turn on my pressure cooker, and actually start the pressure cooker mode for 10 minutes. It will preheat to the proper temperature, and it will start, and I will get a notice when it's done on my Echo, on my Dot, saying when the cooking is ready. And then I can turn off the Instant Pot, and I don't have to worry about where the buttons are. I can just say, Lady A, turn off Instant Pot. And then you'll hear a beep on the Instant Pot, and that means the machine is off. It took me a long time to figure that out. It was specifically a Wi-Fi model, so if you're going to buy an Instant Pot, you can't just go out and get any Instant Pot. You have to make sure that it is Wi-Fi compatible. And that's a very specific thing. Otherwise, it will not work with those devices. But it's made my life so much easier. I don't have to worry about where the buttons are. I don't have to worry about how many times do I hit it. Did I hit them enough times? Did I hit them too many times? I can just use my voice. Now, one thing I have not been able to get it to work with is the other modes. So like I said, it does sauteing, it does slow cooking, it does rice cooking, it does this, it does that. The only thing I've seen to be able to get it to do so far, and I've had it now for almost a year, is I have only been able to get it to do pressure cooking, which is what I use it for 99% of the time anyway. I haven't really used it for all the other functions anyhow, but just for instance, for pressure cooking, that has just been a lifesaver for me. I just wanted to throw that in. Dixie, do we have any questions at this point?
No, sir.
No questions. Okay. All right. Is Carolyn on the line? Is she here?
She's here.
Okay, Carolyn.
She's muted.
Okay, Carolyn. We'd like to kind of wind things down. Before we do that, David, is there anything that you'd like to say in conclusion?
Well, again, I just wanted to thank you, Jason, and Carolyn for letting me do this demo and give me an opportunity to talk about Comcast, a company that I not only work for, but a company that I really love and really believe in. If anybody wants to know more about Comcast, they can, if you are able to go on the web, you can go to xfinity.com. So it's like infinity, but get rid of the IN and substitute with an X. So it's xfinity.com. And if you add /accessibility, you can learn more about what we're doing with accessibility with our products. If you're a Comcast customer and you want to call our customer support center for customers with disabilities, that number is 855-270-0379. That is a toll-free number. So thanks again for letting me come on and do this. This was really a lot of fun.
Can't get Caroline to
Thank you
unmute.
so much, David.
Yeah, sure.
What I'd like to do at this time, if Carolyn's available, Carolyn Lapp is our executive director here at the Florida Outreach Center, and since she's been so quiet, she does have many words to say at times, and I'd like for her just to come in for a minute if she's able to, and if there's anything she'd like to say in conclusion regarding today's workshop, or any comments that she may have regarding the Florida Outreach Center.
Well, I am so excited about this advancement in technology. When I heard about all these appliances that we could adapt so that blind people could use them, I was just over the top. So this has been wonderful, learning about all of these items that we haven't been able to use in the past. Now we can use them, we can access them like everybody else. We don't have to wait for anybody to get home to help us turn on our pressure cooker, or maybe I'm freezing to death because Bill turned the thermostat down. I can adjust it to the way I like it. So it's very exciting, and I appreciate you, Jason, and David for putting all this together and telling us about these features and these items. What an advancement for blind people. This is really exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. So anyway, and I guess that, unless we have anybody else with any raised hands, I guess we'll go ahead and conclude today's meeting. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. I know at one time we're down by a few people now, but we still have quite a many people on the line, which is great, which is awesome. At one point, just to let everybody know, we had 26 people, which is a phenomenal turnout. And I like to personally thank everybody for taking time out of their day and out of their busy schedules to come listen to our presentation and to hopefully gain some insight and gain some information into smart home technology and how you can make your home not only a smart home, but a better home. Thank you so much, everybody.
You want Manis to lead us out?
Yes, Manis, if you'd like to leave us in a quick prayer, that would be wonderful. You there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Manis.
Dear gracious and heavenly Father, we thank you so much for blessing us. We thank you for watching over us. We thank you for protecting us. We thank you for giving us knowledge to be able to learn certain things and also to make certain things available to us who are blind or visually impaired. So we thank you for that. May you also pour your blessing on the FOCB so that we can continue to serve our community. Thank you for our presenter, David. May you continue to give him wisdom. Bless his family as well. Bless us as we go our separate ways. May we always remain under the shadow of your wings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Manis. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And that will conclude our recording.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
All right.